Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. The theme of this episode is mother-in-laws. So let's get into it. Okay, the title of the first story is Mother-in-law threw away my kids' favorite sandals because they were too girly. I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I've been married to my 40-year-old husband for 5 years. We have a 6-year-old son. I'm currently pregnant with baby number 2, who's totally obsessed with Kirby from Nintendo. Since Kirby is pink, my son loves having pink stuff because it's Kirby's color. We're heading to Cuba from Canada for a family trip this Friday, and my mother-in-law, who I usually get along with, is coming too. While packing my son's things, I realized that I couldn't find the pink sparkly sandals he specifically asked to wear at the beach. He chose them because they were the only ones in Kirby's color. I searched everywhere but had no luck. I even asked my husband, but he had no idea. Since my mother-in-law was at our house recently, I thought she might know where the sandals were. So I called her and she said, "Yes, dear, I threw them away." I was shocked and asked why, and she replied, "They were very girly. I didn't want him to get bullied wearing those ridiculous sandals. Children have no common sense. It's our job to protect them. He's a little boy, not a little princess." I lost it. I told her he picked them himself because they're Kirby colored. He's just a little kid. Why does it matter what color he wears? She kept insisting that I should be the adult and protect him. I told her that in that case, I'm protecting him by disinviting her from our trip, especially since we're paying for her. I booked a trip and I'm canceling. My husband thinks I'm overreacting and says it's just a pair of shoes. He suggested that we buy a new pair, but I doubt they'll arrive on time since I bought them online. To me, it's not just about the shoes. It's about her making decisions for us and throwing them away without even telling me. Am I the asshole here or hormonal crazy pregnant lady like my husband thinks? Not the asshole at all. That's crazy that she would throw away your property. And, you have no say in what her kid wears. Also, protect them from wearing pink sparkly sandals? Really? Really? Are you okay? And who's to say he's not a little princess? Who's to say that? That's crazy. I would be like, you can buy me those sandals, actually. I'm not fucking buying those again. You're buying them. You threw them away. You ridiculous little... Sorry. I was going to say a bad word. This person said, "I don't think you're overreacting. She threw out your property without your consent. It's essentially theft. You need to establish your boundaries and defend them. And your husband needs to tell his mom that too. My suggestion for your son, I couldn't find any Kirby sandals except for fuzzy slippers, but I did find these Kirby Croc charms. So if your boy likes Crocs and Kirby, he can customize them. And then make your mother-in-law pay." OP said, "Oh, these are perfect. I think I'm going to get him pink Crocs so he can decorate them with these charms." Aw, yes, please. And make your mother-in-law pay for them. Like this person said, please do that. This person said, "I'm in my 50s, male, straight, married with 2 kids. I look amazing in pink. It fits my skin tone. Your mother-in-law is an idiot." And then this person said, "So worried grandson will be bullied that she decides to bully him?" Exactly. Exactly, period. My response to this kind of stuff is either you're literally the only person since he's had X that's been concerned about it and his sexuality. Why is that? Or, oh no, how long does he have left to wear pink before he's blank? A princess, gay, needing a wishing well, etc. And pushing them back up their claims with non-existent data. Because that's just crazy. Kids just like stuff because kids like stuff. They're not putting any meaning behind that. They like it because they like it. And they love, that. He loves Kirby, so yeah, he loves pink. Who cares? Who cares? People are so annoying. Okay. The title of the next story is, "My mom secretly moved in next door to help with my baby, but now she's trying to co-parent. I gave birth 7 months ago, and being postpartum has been a roller coaster. Exhaustion, hormones, healing, wedding planning, financial, etc. My fiance and I just moved into a rental home a couple months ago to be closer to his job. I was so excited for a fresh start. Then my mom said she was coming to visit for a few weeks to help out. Great. So She booked an Airbnb conveniently on the same street, or so I thought. One week in, she casually mentions she's thinking of extending. I say sure, as long as she's okay with the cost. She laughs and says, "Oh, I'm not paying by the night. I signed a 12-month lease next door." Excuse me? She didn't tell me, didn't ask, just moved a few doors down to my house with her initials on the mailbox and a whole storage truck of furniture. I was stunned. She kept saying, "It's just until you're back on your feet." But I am on my feet. Tired? Yes. But parenting, healing, functioning, it felt like she decided I couldn't do this without her, even though I never asked for her help. But it got worse. It has become overwhelming and aggravating. She started showing up unannounced, like 6 a.m., just checking if the baby woke up, or 10 p.m., wanting cuddles with her or to put her to bed. She's been inserting herself into everything, nap schedules, feeding choices, even arguing with my fiance about how he holds the baby. One night she told him, "You're not doing enough, and when you hold her, you act like the babysitter." Then she started calling my baby our girl. Our girl doesn't like that brand of formula, or our girl gets fussy if we don't follow the schedule. She says we a lot, as in we don't like that toy, or we didn't sleep well last night, like I'm the nanny. It's effing exhausting. I confronted her gently, and she got so defensive that she cried, said I was being cruel. She moved here out of love, and that any other mom would do the same, making me feel like the ungrateful adult child. My fiance wants to set a firm boundary or ask her to leave, but I feel guilty. She is my mom. She's never been this intense before, and a part of me wonders if she's just lonely or projecting something that she hasn't dealt with. But I also can't live like this. I feel like I'm not allowed to be my baby's mom without her shadow over me. I'm a first-time mom. I want to experience motherhood in its entirety. I don't know if I should confront her harder, let her stay and try to coexist, or ask her to leave and risk destroying our relationship. Has anyone else ever dealt with a parent trying to strong-arm co-parent your kid uninvited? Well, I think that it's important to set boundaries for sure. I'm sure it would help a lot to have your mom's help. I feel like that's one thing that would really help, but you just need to set boundaries with her. I don't know if they can be set now though, now that she thinks that she has all of this power and say, and she's completely butting in and crossing so many boundaries that she should know. She should already know not to cross these boundaries. It's not she's a full-blown adult. She should know, but she obviously doesn't. So I would have a talk with her. I don't know. I think that it would be a lot of help, and she's obviously willing to help. So if it were me, I personally would just have a talk with her and want to settle things down. Hey, this makes me uncomfortable. Don't do this. Don't do this, this, and this. And then hopefully she stays within those boundaries. And if not, then that's when you could really get her to just leave you alone. Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this post to resonate with so many people so fast. Thank you to everyone who shared their stories, advice, or just straight up tough love. I needed it. After reading the replies, especially the brutally honest ones, I realized I've been prioritizing not upsetting my mom over protecting my peace and my baby's space. That breaks my heart. That ends now. My fiance and I are sitting down tonight to make a plan. Here's what we've already decided. We're locking our doors at all times. She will no longer be allowed to just drop in. Texts, calls will only be responded to when it's convenient for us, not immediately or emotionally. I'm going to tell her directly that while I appreciate her desire to be involved, she is not the co-parent. And if she keeps boundary stomping, she won't be involved at all. I'll probably bring my fiance into that combo for backup, because I know she'll try to cry or guilt me again. But this time, I'm going in calm, clear, and with zero wiggle room. I'll update again after the conversation if anyone's interested. Thank you all. Seriously. Sometimes the internet is a wild place, but right now it helps me take my power back. Love that for you. Edit 2. It didn't go bad, but it didn't go good either. We finally had the talk tonight. It took a while to build up the nerve, and honestly, I felt sick to my stomach leading up to it. My fiance and I sat my mom down and gently explained how things have been feeling. How we've appreciated her presence and help in some ways, but how the drop-ins, the unsolicited advice, and the constant involvement have started to feel overwhelming and intrusive. We made it clear we need space to figure things out as a family, and we want to parent our child without feeling like we're under supervision. To her credit, she didn't blow up. She got quiet, defensive, but not combative. She said things like, I thought I was helping, and I didn't realize I was making it worse. She even said she felt like she was fired from being a grandma. There was a definite coldness, like she was holding back a bigger reaction or deciding what to do with the information. She asked a few questions, mostly clarifying things like, "So you don't want me to come over without asking?" Answer, "Yes. Please text first." And "You don't want me giving advice anymore?" Answer, "Only if we ask for it." There was a long pause, and then she said, "I knew this was his influence. He's trying to take you away from me." My fiance stayed calm, bless him, but it was clear she's been bottling resentment toward him for a while. I told her plainly, "No, Mom, these are my words. You're not listening to me. You're trying to turn me against the person who is actually supporting me. I need you to understand that if you keep crossing our boundaries, you'll lose access to this experience entirely." There were a few tears, and she brought up sacrifices she made and how she thought she was doing the right thing. At one point, she even asked, "Would you be doing this if I was his mother instead of yours?" That one stung because she doesn't see how we've both been drowning trying to manage her presence. Although surprisingly, and maybe this is a small win, she didn't yell. She didn't storm out. She sat there and actually listened, even if she didn't like it. We told her we want to be the ones raising our child, and that the help she offers needs to be on our terms. Specifically, no more unannounced visits. No more inserting herself into parenting decisions. We said we needed space, physically and emotionally, to breathe, learn, and grow as a little family. She said she was hurt, but will try to respect our wishes. Honestly, I don't know if she fully gets it. The vibe when she left was tense. She didn't slam the door, but she didn't hug me goodbye either. It kind of felt like a polite ending to an awkward dinner party. So yeah, not the worst case scenario, but not the breakthrough that I was hoping for. We're giving her time to process, and we're standing by the boundaries that we set. I'm nervous about what the next few weeks looks like, but I also feel a tiny sense of relief for speaking up. I appreciate everyone's support and encouragement. Truly, your stories and advice gave me courage to say something. I'll update if anything major changes. The top comment says, "Your mom ambushed you and then tried to take total control. She needs firm boundaries and controls and therapy. Lots of therapy." Yeah, because moving in without telling you is honestly so crazy. And also, I feel like when you don't tell someone something and you like ambush someone, and I didn't even really like address this the first time, like the original story, but I feel like when you do something and you don't tell someone that you're doing it, you usually know that that's not something they want you to do. Like there's typically a reason that you're keeping it a secret. Otherwise, you would have told her and been like, "Oh my God, like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think about that? Like, I think you could use my help and I would really love to help you. What do you think?" But you did it because you knew that she probably wasn't going to want you to do that. And that's where you went wrong, because that's selfish of you to do. Even though you think you're being selfless by like coming and helping out and being like the hero and saving the day, and but you ended up not really saving the day, and you're trying to like turn them against each other, which is really crazy to me. Okay, let's go to the next story. The title is, "Mother-in-law announced my pregnancy on Facebook before we even had the chance to tell everybody we wanted to. Husband hit the roof." Pretty much the title. Last weekend we gave our parents the go-ahead to tell their family and friends the happy news. We should have thought to caveat that with, "but not on social media," because she's a classic boomer that loves Facebook. I'm currently really struggling with hyperemesis, and when it happened, I hadn't been able to eat and keep it down for 24 hours. I struggled to care and didn't want confrontation, but texted her to ask to remove our tags from the post so at least only her friends would see the news and we would still have control over telling ours. So many people liked and commented, even my brother-in-law's ex-girlfriend. The post was primarily centered about how excited she was to become a grandparent. What I didn't know was that my brother-in-law had seen the post as soon as it went up, and he called her to tell her to take it down. She said, "Get off your high horse. They've told me I can tell people." He tried to say yeah, but not on Facebook, and she just got defensive with him. She went to my father-in-law for support. He agreed with brother-in-law, and again, she didn't listen. Then she got the text from me. She replied with the classic thumbs up, and I thought it was taken care of. But no. She rang my husband to whine and say, she's just asked me to take down the post. That's not fair, or something to that effect. My husband hadn't seen the post, so he had no idea what she was talking about. But when she explained, he was furious. He said it wasn't her news to share publicly, and Facebook isn't just telling your friends and family, especially when you tag us. The argument went back and forth. She again tried to get support from father-in-law, who was on our side. She said, look what you're doing. You're driving a wedge between me and your dad, and we'll get a divorce, and it will be all your fault. Well, that was it then. Husband went nuclear. Edited to add, she did end up deleting the post. He called me almost in tears because he was worried about me and work, and now this too. I felt so awful. We've had issues with her for years, but it's just getting worse and worse. As we predicted it would when a baby came into the picture. I just don't know what to do, and I'm still so sick, so I'm really struggling to care. She's not my mom, and I want as little to do with her as possible. No matter what is explained to her, she just never gets it and just keeps pushing for what she wants and never truly apologizes or proves her growth. Anyway, now she's texting me, asking how I am like nothing happened. She doesn't know I was in the hospital yesterday getting IV fluids and strong anti-sickness medicine because we just can't be bothered to tell her. I'm at a loss for how to proceed and feel like my husband needs to have serious boundary setting and a talk with her where every rule and expectation is explicitly laid out in front of her and see what happens next. Either way, I want nothing to do with it. Okay. I'm gonna preface this because I agree with them, obviously. Like I'm totally on OP's side about this, but I do also understand where it could be misconstrued when you say you can tell everyone the happy news. You know what I mean? I don't know, because I just feel like I could, if someone told me that, I would probably take it. I would not be posting about that. But maybe if I was like the grandma, I would, because I'd be so excited and I'd be like, oh my God, they said I could tell people. Like, I probably wouldn't really, I don't know. Am I making excuses for her? Maybe. But like I can see where it would go wrong. But reading the rest of this post, it does seem like she's also we're going to get a divorce and that will be all your fault is insane and crazy of you to say. Like, no, don't say that. But regardless of that, reading through the rest of the post did seem like this isn't the first time that she's like crossed boundaries or refused to do something or like taken into consideration anything. And like she's kind of, you're having problems with her a lot. So I don't know the history, and maybe this is like just another thing added on to all the annoying shit that she does. But I feel like if this was a first time offense and she just like accidentally did that, the saying no, like when the brother-in-law came to her and said that like that you probably shouldn't tell Facebook, that was a little bit crazy because it's like, hey, so maybe listen to people. But I'm glad she at least said like okay when OP went and asked. I don't know, guys, please. I don't think that she's in the right, okay? Let me get that straight. I'm just saying, I'm being devil's avocado right now and saying that I understand why she might have misconstrued that and thought that it was okay to post on Facebook. But I think the rest of the story and everything else is crazy of her and not okay. But the top comment says, Gray Rock using the same thumbs up to every text. Also, she's the last to know when Low arrives because Low. That's going to be posted publicly on Facebook. Oh, little one. That's what Low means. The instant she hears about it. Drop the rope, Gray Rock info diet. Let husband deal with her. When you go into labor, do not tell them. This sucks because it does look like there are people telling her she's wrong, but she will post it and be blowing up everyone's phone. When baby is here, make your own Facebook post about it and then call father-in-law and not mother-in-law. I hope the rest of your pregnancy is well and you have a safe delivery. Someone said, don't get mad. Just put her on an information diet and put her in a timeout. She's going to do whatever she wants. Angry just makes her dig her heels in. Not the information diet. This person said, my mother-in-law and father-in-law told a ton of people about my pregnancy before we even gave the general go-ahead. So we decided they don't get to find out till it's public news next time. See, that's crazy to me. Like if you were to tell her and then she went and posted a Facebook post about it once she found out, that's insane to me. But the only reason I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt is just because you said, oh, you can go tell people, whatever. But yeah. Someone said you need to clearly tell her that because she shared previous news on social media that you are not comfortable with sharing further information. She needs consequences, especially if she's not listening to others. Yeah, she definitely needs to listen to people when they tell her that she's in the wrong. So I can understand where they're coming from with that and all of the other stuff as well. It's just she's clearly something is a little twisted, like some wires are a little bit twisted or something, because her saying that you're the reason that your husband would be the reason that she and her husband get divorced is such a wild thing to say, especially to your own child, even if they're an adult, even if they're a grown-up adult. Like, you saying that is just like, there's a screw loose. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next story though. The title is, my mother-in-law scheduled a family photo shoot for the day we come home from the hospital. I need to know if I'm the just no here, because my husband thinks that I'm overreacting. I'm 38 weeks pregnant with our first baby. We just got the final confirmation that we're being induced next Tuesday if baby doesn't come before then. We told our immediate families, including my mother-in-law, with strict instructions that we want no visitors at the hospital and at least 2 days alone at home to settle in. Tonight, my mother-in-law sends a group text with a link to a sunset glow family photo shoot that she has booked and paid for Thursday evening. We're expected to be discharged from the hospital Thursday afternoon. She wrote, quote, so excited to capture our family's new beginning. I've already bought matching outfits for everyone, unquote. I lost it. I will have just gone through labor, likely be exhausted and sore. My newborn will be less than 48 hours old, and she expects me to go to a photo shoot in matching outfits with her. My husband said, quote, she's just excited. It's a nice gesture. We can probably just go for an hour. I told him absolutely not. This is a massive boundary stomp. She was told no immediate visitors, and her response is to schedule a mandatory stressful photo op for our literal first evening home. He says I'm being ungrateful for the gift. Am I crazy? This feels like a power play to me, to insert herself as the matriarch of this new family from minute one. I'm about to email the photographer to cancel it myself. Oh, you are not crazy. Anyone with 2 brain cells would know you don't do that. They shouldn't even have to be told that you want time alone when you get home with your newborn baby and you don't want to be doing a photo shoot the day after you give birth. What? This husband has got to get a grip on himself. Hello? No. And her saying, I'm sorry. Her saying our family's new beginning. Whose new beginning? Just had a baby. Me and my husband just had a baby. You get a fun little new addition. You get a grandchild. Sure. There's no new beginning for you. Like, what? You're not the mother of this child. What the hell, are you talking about? The top comment said, it's not a nice gesture. It's thoughtless and kind of mean, actually, which are things you shouldn't have to fake gratitude for. I'll assume your husband just doesn't realize how intense the labor and first few weeks are going to be, and that he'll realize what a complete idiot he's being after the fact. But Jesus effing Christ. Your mother-in-law has to know better. That's insane. Yeah, your mother-in-law does know better. And if you're marrying, oh my God, sorry, but if you're having a baby with a man who doesn't know how intense labor in the first few weeks are going to be, jail, cruel and unusual punishment for him immediately, dirt smoothie, whatever. Like, please, come on. You are a grown-ass man having a child and you don't know that. I mean, not me roasting the actual F out of him when this is literally just a commenter saying that. It's not even like you said the husband doesn't know. But seriously, if a husband doesn't know, like, I'm sorry, that is common motherfucking sense. That is common sense, I fear. Like, truly, I'm so scared of that. Okay, we're going to move on to the advice/confession segment of this episode. So if you ever want unprofessional advice from me, or you just want to leave a confession for funsies, the Google form is in the description of this episode, and you can fill out that, or you can call and leave a voicemail at 561-264-7017. Okay, let's get into it.
Hey girl, I'm just calling because I have an advice question. I was recently listening to one of your older podcasts, I think maybe possibly, talking about when you got broken up with and the rug was kind of pulled out from under you. And that happened to me 3 years ago, and it absolutely destroyed me. Like, I honestly don't know how I survived it. Like, after that, I totaled my car. Completely unrelated incident, but it was about a week later, and then a week after that, I lost my job because I didn't have a car. So that kind of fucked me up for a while, and but I'm good now. I'm in a great, happy, healthy relationship. We've been together for 2 years, so I took about a year to heal, and I felt like I was good enough at that point, where I'd healed enough to then I need to have my own experiences to continue healing. But I've noticed kind of, not really recently, just, I mean, a little bit throughout, that this person is always, like, in the back of my mind. Not always, but they're always just kind of there. And it's not in a way of, like, a romantic, I miss you, anything. Like, it's very much indifference. Like, I don't give a fuck what you're doing now. But I think they hurt me so bad that they're almost like this villain in my story, maybe. I'm not really sure. But it's really hard for me to kind of, like, I just want to remove this person completely from my brain. And I'm not really sure how to. It's very much like whatever. I think he's come out as, like, bi now, so I think he just, like, he also was a sex addict, and he told me that at the end, and I wasn't aware, and so we just very much did not see eye to eye with each other on that. Like, you and I are very similar in that way, libido-wise, just based off of what you talked about. Yeah, I would love to know if you have any advice of, like, not how you got over this person, because I'm definitely over them, but just kind of how you, I guess, don't see them as a villain in your story, or how it's just like, I don't give a fuck about anything that you are doing or anything. But I would love to know, like, kind of your healing journey. Again, I'm working on it in therapy. My therapist is always like, oh, this is very normal. But then I don't feel, like, guilty about it in any way, being in a relationship, because it's not in a way of like, oh, I miss this person. Well, I guess I give some more context. We were together for a year, and how we broke up with me was we were on our way back to my house, all happy, giggling, whatever, kissing. We pull up to my house, and he starts sobbing, ends it with me out of nowhere. Really doesn't give me that much of an answer or a reason. He kind of just said that he's been unhappy, and I think it was mostly because he was a sex addict, and I have a low libido due to my antidepressants. But he never told me that or, expressed that, so I didn't really ever have a chance to fix it. And then we kind of got back together because he was like, oh, I miss you, whatever. He ended up cheating on me. And I found out because I walked into his room and gave him a kiss, and he smelled like straight up vagina fish. And I was like, oh, okay. He lied about it, went through his phone, found it, ended it. So that's, I guess, a little bit more context to the story. And I really thought that, that was I think it's my first adult love. And that was really hard to move on from the plans that were made, that were no longer obviously going to happen. So, but that's besides the point. That's whatever. That's a little bit more context. So I would love to know if you have struggled with the same thing or how you've dealt with it. So I love you and thank you and have a good day.
Okay, I love you so much. And I started laughing because you were like, how did you, like, whatever, move on or forgive the person or, like, not feel resentment towards them? And the funny thing is that it's my boyfriend now that did that. It was a long time ago, though. So, like, it took a long time to heal from that, though. Like, also, I think it's such, like, because it's still the dynamic of needing to heal from that and not seeing my boyfriend as a villain, because I definitely, for, like, the first year, had a really hard time not feeling resentment towards him. I felt a lot of resentment towards him, and it was like really hard. And I think it was just like a kind of a different flip of the coin. You're going through it having to heal from someone that you're obviously not speaking to anymore, and I was going through it having to heal from someone that I'm in a relationship with. And obviously everything is like so amazing now and has been for a really long time, but yeah, for a while I did feel a lot of resentment. I mean, we were broken up we dated for like a year. It was like a little under a year, I don't really know. It was probably like 11 months ish. But then we broke up, and yeah, it was like that rug pulled from under me. Like, literally was so crazy and an awful experience. And then I had a few months to myself and just like working on healing and therapy and all of that stuff. And then we ended up getting back together at like the 5 or 6 month mark of us being broken up. So I wish I could tell you exactly how, but I do think that your therapist is definitely right. Like, it's definitely very normal to feel resentment towards them, especially I think it's so different because this person not only pulled the rug out from under you, but you got back together with him and then he cheated on you. So that's like like you let him back in after breaking that trust and feeling like so shitty about him just ending things with you for no reason, just to get literally shot on 10 times worse. Like, I can understand why you feel resentment towards that person, and like they're the villain in your story. Like, I totally get it. So I don't think that you're wrong for that, and I think that it's honestly just gonna take time, and it's also okay for a little bit to see him as the villain in your story, like he kind of low-key was, but also maybe just think about like what he was going through. I'm sure, that's no excuse for doing what he did to you, obviously, but you do kind of have to think about like the struggles that he was facing, because of course you're thinking about like, oh, how it affected you, which is obviously valid, and that's what you're gonna do. But if you think about it from like his perspective, like he was struggling with not being out about being bisexual, which is a struggle within itself. It's like, especially when you're in a relationship and you want to be able to like explore that and see if you actually feel that way, and you feel like you can't because you're in a relationship, and then you're like questioning yourself, am I not, I don't know. And that's just like a struggle. And then on top of that, dealing with the sex addiction is another struggle. I can't even imagine how like hard that would be. So yeah, I would just think of it, everyone is going through something, and everyone has their own stories to tell, and those are the things that lead us to doing what we do. Even though that's not an excuse, it can explain maybe why he did that to you. And maybe, hopefully, he's like a healed person now, because cheating on you was definitely a crazy, awful thing to do. And the fact that he got back together with you and did that is so insane. So I would just say you're valid in the way that you're feeling, and I think time will heal eventually. You're not even gonna think about him anymore. I know it's been 3 years, but like, you're gonna move on and not even think about him. 3 years is honestly like not that long of a time either. And especially when it's something so traumatic, I think it's just like gonna take a little bit of working through the trauma, because you might feel like you're like completely over it and different about the situation, but I feel like trauma subconsciously affects you a lot, and that could be something that you're just holding on to, not even knowing it, just like completely unknowing. And that does sound like it is the situation. So I would say just keep working on it in therapy with your therapist, and just like, ask her for tools, like what can you do and you could even like journal. I always recommend journaling. I feel like journaling is like such a good way to not even heal things, but just get things out in the open. And hopefully that was even therapeutic for you to like call me and maybe even hear this, or read some comments about people giving advice as well. Sometimes it's nice to just talk about it until you literally beat the horse dead to oblivion and you feel a little bit better. But I love you so much, and that's the end of this episode. So I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye. If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.